Hello everyone. This might sound very strange, but there was one good thing about quarantine. I was able to read 3 books in a day. So that is great. I meant that I was actually managed to read an acceptable amount of books this month. I don't mean to shame anyone when I say acceptable, it's just that I wanted to read 50 books this year, and I was a couple books behind on that goal, so being able to read 6 books this month really made life so much easier. So let's get into what I read this month. The first book that I read this month was Cinder, The Lunar Chronicles, Book 1 by Marissa Meyer. It received 3 out of 5 stars. I expected something a little bit more unique with the kind of a sci-fi twist on classic fairy tales, but really I did not get that, and I know that the present stereotypes doesn't exactly mean that it's not a unique book, but I mean, the female lead was described with mousy hair and too skinny, so that felt a little bit like every other book ever. And this isn't exactly a spoiler, but there's a bit more romance than you would expect, because this book takes place during a plague going on and there's threats of war, so it's really a very serious time. But then you have like all this action, but then you just get to 3 pages about them talking like about a dance coming up, and I know because it's Cinderella you do need for there to be a dance, but do we need to spend 3 pages of just some guy asking a girl to dance? I know it's an important plot point, but just 3 pages in the middle of a war. I don't have the second book I read this month with me because I read it online, but it was a short story called Glitches by Marissa Meyer. This also exists within the Lunar Chronicle universe, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Well, I don't want to get into too much detail about the plot. It just gives a lot of great backstory on one particular character and makes you care about her even more, and I really appreciate that. So yeah, probably my favorite story in the Lunar Chronicles universe. Next, I read Scarlet by Marissa Meyer. This is the second book in the Lunar Chronicles universe, and it started out a lot better than Cinder, then kind of lost its quality writing, if that makes sense. And I know that everyone I've talked to about this book personally disagrees, so it might just be me, but I got quite a bit of Twilight vibes, and only book series that is allowed to give me Twilight vibes is Twilight. So I only gave it 3 out of 5 stars. I really thought it was going to be a 4-star book, but kind of just, I don't know if she was in a rush to meet a deadline, but it sort of felt like the quality of writing declined. Then I read The Queen's Army by Marissa Meyer, which is another online short story within the Lunar Chronicles universe. And this only received 1 out of 5 stars because, can I just say, wow, she had the chance to make that short story great. It mainly centers on 2 characters, and she had the chance to make both characters more morally gray and very unstereotypical and very just deep, real characters. But I really thought that was where it was going, and then she just kind of turned it into a stereotypical sibling type rivalry, and it was so disappointing. The next book I read this month was Heartless by Marissa Meyer. Same author, but not in the same universe as the Lunar Chronicles. Though it is sort of exists in a fairy tale type world, it is not sci-fi, and it is also very disappointing and gets 2 out of 5 stars. I probably would have liked it more if the characters behaved in a more realistic way, because there is one betrayal that happened and I was mad, but the character who got betrayed wasn't mad, so that was a little confusing. And I don't really want to give too much away, but chances are if I feel betrayed by something, then the person who gets betrayed should feel bad. And they did for like 2 seconds, and then they were like, oh well, I'll just forget about it. And there's a difference between forgiveness and then going off and like making out with somebody after they betrayed you, and I just feel like it could have been so much more realistic. But also, I rated this 2 out of 5 stars in like a pit of passion. Oh my god, did I say pit of passion? I meant fit of passion. So it's probably better quality writing than making it seem, because the first half of the book, I'm really good at speaking English today, guys. First half of the book was so good. I loved the world so much, captured Wonderland's feel so well. I love baking, which is really just an added bonus, but it just kind of lost its charm. Almost may have been better as a series, that way the characters had time to like sort through their feelings. But yeah, kind of a disappointing book, but I could totally see why people like this book. I'm almost mad at myself for not liking it, but I still didn't, so here we are. The last book I read this month was The Golden Compass by Pullman, which is the first book in the trilogy called His Dark Materials. And I give this book 3 out of 5 stars, but it is worth mentioning that I really enjoyed the world in the book, but when I was about a third of the way through, I misplaced the book. And then when I came back to it, it did not seem as good, so I don't know if there are a lot of things I didn't connect to because I took a break in between while I was reading the book. But I don't know, I usually don't lose books that often, and I lost this book like twice. That was a very weird experience. I've technically been reading it over a month, but the real reason I only gave it 3 out of 5 stars is while the main character's motivations make perfect sense, at the end there's this very weird conversation in between 2 villains, and their character motivations make no sense at all. And people often talk about how advanced the writing for this series is, so I don't know if it's just something I personally didn't get, or if Pullman was like, you know what, let's just try to make these characters more understandable, but actually just make them more confusing. I don't know, but certainly, I don't even know what happened at the end. The ending was also very rushed. It was very weird because it almost felt like there were 3 climaxes, but then the climax that happened last was the least interesting and the most rushed. So once again, maybe this book is too advanced for me, but I really feel like the writing was just confusing and hard to follow. So I'm not 100% sure what this says about me as a reader, but to make myself feel better, I'm just gonna blame the book on this one. So I was able to read 6 books this month. Most of those books were 3-star books, but that's still a fairly good month. And I'm not sure how April is going to go, because I do have spring break, which you guys may be like, but isn't every day spring break? But I actually did school online even before the quarantine, so not too much has changed for me. But I'm just hoping to get some good books in for next month. I plan to continue the His Dark Materials series, then maybe read The Little Android, which is a Lunar Chronicles short story. So yeah, I'll be revisiting a lot of the same fandoms. And, you know, writing usually gets better with each book, so let's hope that I get to read even more and they're rated even higher in April. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please comment and tell me your thoughts on these books, though for anyone else in the comments, please make sure to make it very clear if you're about to spoil anything. I'd love to talk about these books, definitely Heartless, because I have some feelings about that story. And also, please tell me what you guys read this month, because if I own the book, I will probably add it to my to be read, because I'm that type of person. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. God bless you all.